All right, it's time to talk about one of the most frequently asked questions that I get, and that is, how do you self-publish a book? Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens, and this is Carly Stevens Books for all things writing, publishing, and indie author life. Before I dive into the steps that are necessary to self-publish a book, there is a very detailed handout that gets into more specifics on my website, carly-stevens.com. So you can head over there, and then, like I said, there is a PDF you can get with the more specific steps. What I'm giving you here is a basic blueprint. Here are the things you need to do in order. Here are the decisions that you need to make, and kind of where to begin if you want to self-publish a book. So I'm just going to kick things off by saying there's more than one way to publish a book in general. The two main paths that people talk about are traditional publishing, in which you get an agent who then pitches to publishing houses. So those are most of the books that you see in bookstores, many of the books that you see on Amazon, that kind of thing. And then there is self-publishing or indie publishing, which is for the most part anyway, people doing it themselves, and they are their own writer and publisher and marketer and everything else. I am assuming that you want to self-publish. For me, that was plan A. It does not need to be this fallback like the kind of bad press would suggest. There is some negativity around the idea of self-publishing still, but that's beginning to change, thank goodness, because we are legitimate business people who work at least as hard as the people who are getting traditionally published, and our material is just as good. So, assuming that you want to self-publish, here are the ways that you can do it. So first, you have your book. It's completed, right? It's not just completed, but it's edited. You've gotten feedback, you've changed things, you've really made it so that this story is something that you would be proud to show, not only to friends and family, but also to strangers that might or might not enjoy it. Let's assume that there are people who would absolutely love to meet these characters, to be in this world, but you do need to accept your story is in that state that you're willing to put it out there. Make sure that it is something that you're proud of and it doesn't have a bunch of story mistakes, typos, that kind of thing. So you have a good product. Awesome. Let's get going. So some choices you need to make right off the bat. The first choice is, are you going to go exclusive with Amazon, or are you going to go wide? There are other ways to self-publish besides this. There are lots of different paths, like I said, but I'm going to focus on the two main ones, and those are only publishing through Amazon, so that is Kindle, that is potentially paperbacks and that kind of thing on that platform. Or wide is Amazon plus Barnes & Noble, plus Target, plus, you know, whatever, just you name it, it's there, right? Every other way that you might get a book, like libraries, etc. So decide, are you going to go exclusive or are you going to go wide? On that sheet, I have some information about pros and cons with different styles of publishing. The main pro with going exclusive with Amazon is that it's easier. So I'm going to start talking about that, and then I will end this video with information about how to go wide. The steps are a little bit in a slightly different order, but it's not that much more complicated. It's just you know, there are more steps, there is more that you invest up front to have more potential to sell. The biggest drawback to being exclusive with Amazon is that they control everything about your business and how much you get paid. They are famous for stiffing their creators. So is it the biggest platform in the world? Yes. So I wouldn't say avoid Amazon. I wouldn't say that at all. But be aware that they can change their algorithms at any moment. They can do pretty much what you want, and there's not a whole lot of recourse for you. So it's kind of nice to have those additional outlets if you want to make this a career, but people can make a career both ways. So you've made that decision. The second decision that you want to make right off the bat is, what formats do you want to offer your story in? If you are self-publishing, ebook, I would say, is a necessity. The whale readers are those who read on e-readers. So that is Kindle, that's Nook, that's, there's a variety of different e-readers. So I would say ebook at a minimum. A lot of people also want to hold their book in their hands. There is something magical about being able to do that. Some of my most recent releases, I have these cute minis on two ends of the spectrum. We have horror and we have Christmas romance going on over here. But then you can go all the way up to these humongous books like this. You can do hardcovers with illustrations. I mean, it's really magical to be able to hold a book of yours in your hand, but it's not important to everybody. So decide on that as well. And then audiobooks, I'm not going to spend time talking about audiobooks specifically in this video, but it is that fourth format that is on the rise, and it's definitely the way that I read most of my books nowadays. I have some information about that on the rest of the channel. So you've made your decision. So step one, we're gonna go Amazon exclusive, right? Step one is you need to prepare the look of the book. So that's outside and inside, the cover and the interior. So start doing a little bit of research into your genre. You might want to do a cover that depicts some dramatic moment in your story. Avoid that. I know that it's really tempting to do, especially, sci-fi fantasy writers tend to want this a lot, but it doesn't always get across what your story is as much as a slightly more generic cover that really communicates what the genre is, what the sense of the story is. I mean, we have here, this is horror. Look at, there's a ghost. We have here, this is fantasy. You can tell there's a castle, there's a crown, there's some wispy smoke and such. So do some research into what is typical for your genre these days. You'll also need to write a couple of things. Number one, the blurb. So even if you are not going with a paperback, hardcover, that kind of thing, you're still going to need a blurb because that will be attached to the sales page on Amazon, assuming that we're just doing Amazon, right? So that is the short teaser of your book. So there's information about how to do that, but you'll definitely need to write that. And for your cover artist, I'm assuming that you're hiring an artist, unless you are a designer, like that is your specialty, I would hire somebody. I go with 100 covers, which is a very affordable service, and let them do things. But assuming that you're going to hire somebody, they do not read the entire book. You don't say, okay, I need a cover for this, it's 1,000 pages long. Instead, what you do is you send them a summary of the story, of the main places, the main characters, and generally what your story is about. So in addition to that blurb, you're also going to write a summary that you'll send to your cover artist. So you hire your cover artist, you send them the summary. While they're working on that cover, you work on formatting. You need that internal formatting if you are going with a physical copy. I mean, it needs to be formatted for ebooks for every sort of format that your story is going to come in, but the exact page count of formatted pages matters for the wraparound part of your cover. If you're doing a paperback or hardcover, you need to know the exact number of pages that your story is. So you can pay a formatter. A lot of people have services, or you can go with something like Reedsy.com. They have a formatting tool that is pretty good. Personally, I bought Vellum, which is a software that goes only with Macs right now, unfortunately. But if you have a Mac and you intend to write more than one book, I would definitely suggest investing in Vellum. It makes formatting really easy. I can do it myself. I do not need to hire that out. It was a one-time cost. So different options there, but if you are planning on just having this one book or you aren't sure, then most cover artists and services like 100 Covers have a formatting service as well. So you can send all that stuff over and they'll do the interior too. All right, so you have the look of your book. Awesome. Then you decide on a price. What is typical and what is going to get you a profit on top of something like printing costs, that sort of thing. You have a few other things to decide as well, even if you're just doing an ebook on Amazon. So you have a price, you need to decide on keywords as well. So those are search terms, right? There are 8 that you get on most services, not just Amazon, but 8 different keywords, search terms that you can put in. So you can put in things like tropes that are in there, types of characters, where the book is set, so some subgenre information, main genre information, like is it contemporary romance, is it a young adult fantasy? Those big genres will already be covered, but if you have any subgenres like dark academia, for example, with Laertes, Hamlet retelling, then that would be an example of the perfect keyword search term to make a list of. Okay, then you'll go to kdp.amazon.com and create your account, and they'll walk you step by step through the process of putting in title, name of the author, which can be your own name or a pen name, it doesn't really matter, uploading the cover, uploading the interior, setting your release date, your price, all that stuff. I actually have on that PDF that you can get on my page the exact, as of September 2024, the exact categories and questions that they'll ask, so you can treat it like a checklist. Can you answer all these questions? Do you have everything prepared? And that is it for an ebook. For an ebook on Amazon, that is all you need to do. Something else that you would choose if you're going exclusive with Amazon is the KDP Select. That means that your ebook is exclusive to Amazon. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, if you're familiar with that platform, where people can pay a subscription and then read unlimited pages of books that are in that platform. The downside to being exclusive like that is that you can't put your ebook for sale anywhere else, at least for a while. They have specific terms. If you have questions about that, you can always ask me, but that is that. So you want a paperback too. I hear that. Let's say you also want to publish a paperback. So with your book designer, you would work on the spine, you would work on the back, make sure that, the blurb or whatever you want back there is set and ready to go. So then you get that file. You don't need to do much different about your formatting. It's going to be the same number of pages and all of that, so you can use that same file. There are, however, some new things to consider, and one is trim size. How big is your book going to be? Case in point, this is fairly big. This is a 6x9, which is the size that I do most of my hardcovers. And then this is a small, much smaller size. It's about a 4x7, just because it's super tiny instead, very cute and small. So figure out, how big do you want your book? That should be kind of included in the formatting already, how big the book is. Most of my books are about a 5x8, so that's a typical paperback size. 6x9 looks very big if you don't have a million pages like mine does. Yeah, it's fairly simple from there. You repeat the process that you would do on Amazon. Add a paperback, and then you upload all of that information, and there you go. Okay, Now, let's assume that you want to have your books available at Barnes & Noble, at libraries, at other places as well. You'll need to do some additional steps. The first one you're going to need to do while your book is getting its cover and all of that stuff we talked about before is you'll need to buy ISBNs. That's International Standard Book Numbers. That is this. So if you see the barcode there, those numbers, the ISBN is the top one there. You actually have to buy those. It stinks. I hate it, and there's basically one company in the US at least that has a monopoly on these. So like many things that have a monopoly attached to them, they are overpriced, but you get a discount depending on the number that you buy. So the place where you buy ISBN numbers to register is myidentifiers.com. MyIdentifiers, one word. I personally knew that I was going to publish more than one book. You'll need a different ISBN for every format. This is very important. So, for example, Laertes, here, this is the special edition that has some bonus material, that has some illustrations, that has a different page count, slightly different cover. This has a different ISBN than the normal hardcover. It has a different ISBN than the paperback, than the ebook, than the audiobook. All of those have different ISBNs. So right there we have, 5 ISBNs just for this one title. So what I did was buy 100 numbers. It was quite the investment. It was really annoying how much that cost, but I have not had to worry about it again. It's going to be many years before I reach that 100 mark and have to worry about it anymore. So if you are wanting to be a self-published author and just write to your heart's content, then I would recommend definitely not buying one and not buying 10, but buying those bigger packs of ISBNs. When you decide you want to publish a book wide, you start by getting those ISBNs, pushing one of them, and then inputting basic information about that book. You don't need to upload the manuscript. You can just do the title, the cover, a few other items. Again, on the PDF, I have a whole list of exactly the things that they're going to ask you on that form for ISBNs. So let's take it form by form. I know this is a lot of information, but I just want to give you step by step. What do you do first? What do you do second? Because I know it can be really overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out with a project and you think, oh, okay, well, I'll just put it up on such and such a platform. There's a little bit more to it than that. You have an ebook, right? I would recommend, even if you're planning to go wide, uploading the ebook exactly like I described it to you a moment ago. The only difference would be don't click that KDP Select button that makes it exclusive to Amazon and the Kindle Unlimited program. Everything else just makes it available on Amazon. Check, good, great. Then you still have all of your ebook information, but now with an ISBN that you have bought. So you'll use that instead of the free one that Amazon gives you that's exclusive to them. And you'll go to a sort of distribution site. There are a few distribution sites. There's PublishDrive, which is not as popular anymore. There's Draft to Digital, which is a very popular platform. I would recommend that one. But if you upload to one of those kind of aggregation distribution sites, then it will automatically make your ebook available everywhere ebooks are sold, at least in the US, and then several sort of foreign rights areas as well. So I have sold Laertes, for example, in Poland, in Denmark, in the UK, just all over, because I have that access, right? All right, paperbacks and hardcovers. There are several sites that that are print-on-demand services. So if people want to order your book from Barnes & Noble, then they can go to a catalog and order it there. The one that I use and the one that most self-published authors use is IngramSpark. There are lots of them to look into. There's Book Vault, which you can create these beautiful books, but they're a lot more expensive to print, and so they have to have a higher price point. That tends to be a, once you're a little bit more established kind of thing. You can go directly through Barnes & Noble. I would not recommend doing that because their site is really clunky and their customer service is no good, and their printing is irregular as well. But they can create nice things like this. IngramSpark, and I'll put all these links down below. I have, again, all that additional information on the PDF on my website, is the place to go for basic paperbacks. They're one of the only ones that can do up to 1,008 pages, I think, and I barely fit this in. They also can do these really beautiful hardcovers as well. So you'll upload your paperback and hardcover information into IngramSpark, along with pricing and all that other stuff, and then they will distribute it for you. You can order copies from them. You can have your stuff available that way. Whew. All right. So there you go. Those are the basics for getting your book out there. Do bear in mind that you want something that doesn't look cheap, that doesn't sell yourself short. Make sure that it's something that you are proud of, that you're happy to share with other people, and then make it available to everybody who wants it. Go to my website, carly-stevens.com. I'm going to put the link down below, of course, to that resource that I'm talking about. It also walks you through some of the information about audiobooks too, so it really gets into the weeds. You can treat it like a workbook and make sure that you have all your ducks in a row and you're not surprised by anything that these publishing services will ask you. So yeah, you've got this. You've got this. There is nothing like getting your work out there, having somebody say that they absolutely love it. You can always check out my books as well, obviously. The Tanyuin Academy Complete Series, the paperback and hardcover just came out on October 1st. I'm super excited in paperback, hardcover, and ebook as well, so you can order that anywhere that books are sold. All right, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful for you. Best of luck out there, and I'll see you next week.